In our previous episode, we saw a heartwarming meal occur. A meal between Joseph and his brothers in his house in Egypt. And that's kind of where we left off. So I think they're finishing up the meal and they're packing up, doing whatever, getting ready to go. Genesis 44 and 1. And he commanded the steward of his house, saying, Fill the men's sacks with food, as much as they can carry, and put every man's money in his sack's mouth. 44 and 2. And put my cup, the silver cup, in the sack's mouth of the younger, with his grain money. And the steward did according to what Joseph had said. So this sounds very similar to last time. Last time they came down, they had their bags filled with food and their money put on top. They got home, they got their food, but it's like, why is our money here? It was as if they stole the food, for they didn't pay for it. So now the same thing is going to happen again. The sacks are going to be packed full of food with their money on top. But Joseph's going a little bit further this time. He's putting his cup, his silver cup, in the bag of his youngest brother, Benjamin, his beloved brother, his full brother, Benjamin. So that's going to be a pretty bad look for when they see that. What are they going to say? You know, why did you steal the cup, right? And they're probably going to be blaming him and whatever, and we'll have to see where that goes. But I don't know. This is what do we call this? This is foreshadowing, right? Genesis 44 and 3. As soon as the morning was light, the men were sent away, they and their donkeys. 44 and 4. When they had left the city and were not yet far away, Joseph said to his steward, Up, follow after the men, and when you overtake them, say to them, Why have you rewarded evil for good? Why have you stolen the silver cup? 44 and 5. Is it not my master's drinking cup with which he divines the future? You have done wrong in doing this. Wow, what a setup. So here we go. They pack all this food up, they get all this, they plant the evidence, then they take off. And then he sends his steward after him. He sends his servant there to come at them and with accusations of the event. But it's like they planted the evidence, so it's kind of funny. But I mean, you got to remember, these were the brothers that sold him into slavery. I mean, he can have a little bit of fun with them, give them a little bit of a hard time. I think that's only fair. All those years being a slave, all those years being in prison, I think he gets to prank his brothers a little bit, give them a little bit of a hard time. I think that's fair. Genesis 44 and 6. And the steward overtook them, and he said to them these same words. Moving with all that grain and stuff probably slowed them down, so the steward was able to catch up to him probably relatively easily. Genesis 44 and 7. They said to him, Why does my Lord say these things? Far be it from your servant to do such a thing. 44 and 8. Note that the money which we found in the mouth of our sacks we brought back to you from the land of Canaan. Is it likely then that we would steal from your master's house silver and gold? This is some serious accusations, some serious charges presented against them. And what is their defense? But it is to say that the last time they came back with the money to return it for, they wanted to make themselves honest. They wanted to pay for their food. They didn't want to steal it. It was a misunderstanding, and they had ample money to pay for it last time and this time. Genesis 44 and 9. With whomever your servants, your master's cup is found, not only let that one die, but the rest of us will be my Lord's slaves. This is how they're proclaiming their innocence, in what their response will be to if the charge is true that they do have the cup. Genesis 44 and 10. And the steward said, Now let it be as you say. He with whom the cup is found shall be my slave, but the rest of you shall be blameless. What the steward is suggesting here is far less severe than what the Israelite brothers were saying, in that only the one who steals the cup will receive the slavery option and the rest will be free to go. Genesis 44:11. Then quickly every man lowered his sack to the ground, and every man opened his sack. 44:12. And the steward searched, beginning with the eldest and stopping with the youngest. And the cup was found in Benjamin's sack. I'm sure this was a very high tension moment as they went through the sacks in order, and probably seeing that money on the top of the sack, that it was again returned to them, and going through the order and they all having their money still there. And then finally, when it comes to Benjamin, the youngest, the steward's in there searching and he finds that cup. Oh man, that would have been quite the situation. Genesis 44:13. And they rent their clothes, and after each man had loaded his donkey again, they returned to the city. So they were in such a rage, so upset, just worked up and whatever, that they're ripping their clothes. That's kind of an idiom of just that mental anguish or pain, that suffering. It was kind of like an outlet for it, right? You know, kind of like the cry out or the call out or whatever we have today, posted on Reddit, right? Like just a way of sharing your sorrows to the world, an outward sign of an inner turmoil. And then they proceeded to return to the city. This was probably a very, very somber journey, one that they knew wasn't going to end well. Genesis 44:14. Judah and his brethren came to Joseph's house, for he was still there, and they fell prostrate before him. 44:15. Joseph said to them, "What is this thing you have done? Do you not realize that such a man as I certainly detect and know by divination everything you do without others knowing of it?" So after their little somber journey back to Egypt, back to the house of Joseph, Joseph's still there. I mean, they probably weren't gone very long. Joseph, he's still there having his morning coffee, and here they go. They're coming back. Although I guess he couldn't have his morning coffee if he didn't have his cup. So who knows what he was doing. But he hasn't gone to work yet. He's still there, still at home, waiting for them to come back. And they don't really have anything to say, for themselves. They don't have any excuse. The evidence is there. And they really don't know what to say. So they're prostrating themselves before Joseph. That, that what else can they do? They don't really have a defense. They've been caught red-handed. I think the steward, he probably came out to them alone. He probably didn't have armed guards to kind of compel them to come back, but it was the honor that they had that made them obedient in returning. I mean, they could have tried to make a run for it, but, they make a run for it, and whatever grain that they have, it'd be hard to go very fast. The steward would probably go back the base and come back with reinforcements, and there was no escape. There was no way that they could force themselves out of this situation, for they needed this food. So here we go. They're before Joseph, prostrating himself. And Joseph is boasting or telling them of his divination skills, that, he knew what was going to happen. He knew about all of this. And it's like, it's pretty easy to predict the future if you set it up ahead of time, right? Like, here we go. He's planting the evidence. He knows exactly where it is, and he knows what the outcome's going to be. And of course, as steward, he's probably briefed on all this, so all according to his plan. Genesis 44:16. And Judah said, "What shall we say to my lord? What shall we reply? Or how shall we clear ourselves, since God has found out and exposed the iniquity of your servants? Behold, we are my Lord's slaves, the rest of us as well as he with whom the cup is found." Even though the steward said that, we'll only take the guy that has the cup, Judah's not having that. He wants to go back to what he originally stated, that he is ready, or they are ready to throw down their lives to Joseph and be his slave, for they are guilty of the act. Even though the cup was found with Benjamin, but the rest of them are guilty by association. Although they still have their money and stuff too, so they're probably guilty of that too, so whatever. But I think there was more of that whole idea there. Genesis 44:17. But Joseph said, God forbid that I should do that. But the man in whose hand the cup is found, he shall be my servant. And as for the rest of you, arise and go in peace to your father. Joseph's not having any of that. He's only going to take Benjamin with him, and he's releasing the rest of them, that they don't have to be slaves, that they can return to their father. Genesis 44:18. Then Judah came close to Joseph and said, O my Lord, let your servant, I pray you, speak a word to you in private, and let not your anger blaze against your servant, for you are as Pharaoh. So I will speak as if directly to him. So Judah is pulling the man aside. He's pulling Joseph aside and wants to speak to him privately without the others hearing. Genesis 44:19. My Lord asked his servants, saying, Have you a father or a brother? 44:20. And we said to my Lord, We have a father, an old man, and a young brother, the child of his old age, and his brother is dead, and he alone is left of his mother's offspring, and his father loves him. 44:21. And you said to your servants, Bring him down to me, that I may set my eyes upon him. 44:22. And we said to my Lord, The lad cannot leave his father, for if he should do so, his father would die. 44:23. And you told your servants, Unless your youngest brother comes with you, you shall not see my face again. 44:24. And when we went back to your servant, my father, we told him what my Lord had said. So this kind of is an abridged summary of what happened previously when they first went down and were in discussions with Joseph as he was the governor of Egypt, explaining their family circumstance to him about their father. Genesis 44:25. And our father said, Go again and buy us a little food. 44:26. But we said, We cannot go down. If our youngest brother is with us, then we will go down, for we may not see the man's face except our youngest brother is with us. Genesis 44:27. And your servant, my father, said to us, You know that Rachel, my wife, bore 2 sons. 44:28. And the one went out from me, and I said, Surely he is torn to pieces, and I have never seen him since. 44:29. And if you take this son also from me, and harm or accident shall befall him, you will bring down my gray hairs with sorrow and evil to Sheol, the place of the dead. Israel had a great fear of losing his second son of Rachel, for he already lost the first one. And this is just kind of more of a summary of what happened previously when they had to negotiate with their father for the permission to take Benjamin down to the land of Egypt. He is explaining the circumstance to Joseph so that Joseph would have a deeper understanding of the situation. Genesis 44:30. Now therefore, when I came to your servant, my father, and the lad is not with us, since his life is bound up in the lad's life, and his soul knit with the lad's soul. He is letting Joseph know that if Benjamin doesn't go back, if he doesn't come with them, that it will be the end of their father, that his father will pass. He will go to Sheol, the place of the dead, for his heart will not be able to withstand the loss of another beloved son. Genesis 44:31. When he sees that the lad is not with us, he will die, and your servants will be responsible for his death, and will bring down the gray hairs of your servant, our father, with sorrow to Sheol. 44:32. For your servant became security for the lad to my father, saying, If I do not bring him to you, then I will bear the blame to my father forever. 44:33. Now therefore I pray you, let your servant remain instead of the youth, to be a slave to my Lord, and let the young man go home with his half brothers. 44:34. For how can I go up to my father if the lad is not with me, lest I witness the woe and the evil that will come upon my father? Judah is pleading with Joseph. Judah does not want to see what will happen to his father if his son is not returned, if Benjamin is unable to return. For he will see his father wither away and die from the sorrow of losing his beloved son. And he also made a deal. He made a deal with his father that he would look after Benjamin on his journey, and he would pay the price or whatever if he was unable to return. So this is on him. This is his responsibility. He needs to make sure his brother comes back, and he is pleading with Joseph to have mercy and allow him to be the slave and to release his brother so that his father won't die. And there we go. We are at the end of another chapter. This is just the absolute climax, just rising to the top. This is just such a pinnacle moment in this whole event, this whole story, this whole situation. What's going to happen next? The next part's really cool.